Anything else?
Opening a brand new business I could see being extremely difficult.
It makes them think twice before they get behind that wheel.
We will not
How you doing today, ma'am?
tolerate
Having drugs, cameras, alcohol, any weapons of any kind?
contraband coming into our facility.
Our exclusive Las Cruces Bureau, the city is taking some big steps toward becoming more environmentally friendly. KFOX 14 photojournalist Josh Salazar shows us one group leading the way.
Coming your way.
They're tree stewards, so they're volunteers. We're committed to putting trees in the parks, helping in our nursery, and educating people about the value of trees in our community.
Probably going to cut these roots off.
I was interested in finding out more about trees, especially trees in an urban landscape.
This slicing is affecting these surface roots.
You know, a lot of people spend a lot of money to go to school to learn this kind of stuff, and this was being offered for free in exchange for volunteer hours, which, you know, we should all be doing anyways.
It's important to really know how well loved all our trees are.
Beautiful. Okay, how are we for this?
Someday somebody will be, you know, passionate about that tree.
Police say the incident started here on Sunny Lane, just outside of city limits, after someone threw a cinder block into the suspect's car window. They say the suspect followed another car all the way here down to Valley and University, where the car drove up on this grass hill, and you can see where it even hit this bush, and shots were eventually fired here. Salinas and his camp tell me they don't know where the video came from. They say they found it on a flash drive that was anonymously placed next to their tent outside of City Hall. A lot of the car thefts had to do with missing belongings like cell phones that the driver left behind in the car. But in other incidents, they go after the car itself. In 4 incidents over the last week, the thief got away with what's called the catalytic converter. That's a piece that sits underneath your car.
Right here, you just gotta be on the lookout. Before you even look at the mail, you gotta see if the dogs are behind the gates.
For the last 7 months, David Mendez has delivered mail Monday through Saturday. David says running into aggressive dogs is all just part of the job. But things escalated in July when this dog jumped its gate and came right at him.
And I just felt a bite in the back ankle. So I turned around, pulled out my pepper spray, and sprayed it.
It all happened in a matter of seconds, and it's a problem the post office says is becoming more common.
Hundreds of letter carriers are confronted with dogs daily. Unfortunately, there are some times that the dogs actually come outside of the building and they do bite our letter carriers.
Mario Castro is the safety specialist for the El Paso post office. He says all 481 of their mail carriers are trained to defend themselves against dogs, but it still happens, and it puts employees out of work.
And it's very costly for the post office, but more importantly, it's very painful for the individual.
And he says any kind of dog can be a risk.
You have the smaller dogs, like your Chihuahuas, ankle biters, and you have your bigger dogs like your Rottweilers, your Pit Bulls, which can cause serious injuries.
Luckily for David, his bite only put him on the sidelines for 1 day.
It's that you gotta be alert, you gotta be looking for the dogs.
He and other mailmen don't necessarily dislike dogs, they just want dog owners to be more proactive.
We're trying to do our jobs, so if the public could help us out, just keep an eye on your dog, make sure your gates are solid.
What do you think of the name?
I think it's gonna grow on me.
Since debuting the team name, the Chihuahuas made appearances in more than a dozen national websites and was one of the top 10 trends on Yahoo. Mountain Star General Manager Brad Taylor says that's exactly what they were going for.
Some of it all positive? No, but it's talking about El Paso and it's talking about fun. Some of it's bringing good attention to this city, which is on the rise. Downtown redevelopment, the ballpark's just part of it. So this is all good.
But not everyone feels the ankle biter puts the Sun City in the best light.
I feel like people already stereotype us without a thing like the Chihuahuas, and I feel like it's going to get even worse.
People already feel like we're super Mexican. I feel like you're going to think we're extra Mexican.
Taylor says the moniker represents the best in what El Pasoans say about themselves.
What we kept hearing over and over was, we're loyal, we're fun, we're feisty, we're not the biggest city, we're, but we're okay with that.
Still, he knows it might take people some time to get friendly with the mascot.
I'm still gonna go to the game, so I just don't think I'm gonna probably be wearing a Chihuahua shirt.
Well, we talked to several people who said they didn't like the name last night, but after coming down to the team store and checking out just some of the merchandise, they say the name is starting to grow on them.
I was kind of rooting for the Buckaroos, but then I saw the logo. You know, it's cute, but it's feisty. I like it.
David Velasco sported his new Chihuahuas gear around the UTEP campus. He's already bought season tickets and says he's proud to represent his city.
I'm very excited about it. I think it's good for the community.
Taylor says the Chihuahuas are about family fun entertainment and proving that just like El Paso, it's not the size of the dog, but the size of the fight in the dog.
The Chihuahua's not the biggest dog, but it'll back a Doberman in the corner.
Genevieve Curtis, KFOX 14, News at 9.
Yay, Nevaeh! Yesterday morning, Angela Regalado got the phone call she's been waiting for since the day after Christmas.
I'm so excited.
A Las Cruces detective telling her they found missing 1-year-old Nevaeh Hadagi and they were bringing her home. Angela tells me the reunion with her only granddaughter was a tearful one.
She reached for me and gave me a hug. And patted me like that, like she always does. Kissy. Give me kissy. Aww, yay!
El Paso police found Nevaeh with her mom and her mom's boyfriend at the border in El Paso. That's when they arrested 21-year-old Nicole Hadagi and 21-year-old Jose Mendez. The two were found crossing over from Juarez. They had outstanding warrants for child abuse charges when Nevaeh tested positive for drugs in December and was placed into the custody of her grandmother. Angela says she always suspected they could have been in Juarez because Jose had family living there.
She comes first. That's the bottom line.
My buddy was taking me to the hospital. I couldn't breathe, at all.
These are the wounds now left on 22-year-old John Schofield after he says he got into a fight with another man inside his home early Saturday morning.
It hurts pretty bad.
He says he was stabbed with a pocket knife and his friend Gus Woods ran to help him out.
He's holding himself in his blood,
Gus says he tried to call 911, but an operator never answered. So Gus says he jumped into his truck and took his friend to the hospital himself.
So I was just by the time they get here, I can have him at the hospital.
A neighbor who witnessed the fight says she also tried to call 911 for help, but says it kept ringing and ringing for up to 5 minutes without an answer.
How do I know next time that something is happening to me, I'm going to call 911. Is anyone going to come on time?
To give them the opportunity to get on the line with you.
What's your address?
The county recommends waiting on the line for an answer, but John, meanwhile, says his friend's decision not to wait around for the operator may very well have saved his life.
I'm just glad to be alive.
Halloween is a good time to share a ghost story, and we have one for you from Fort Bliss, where paranormal investigators recently spent the night in a couple of the oldest buildings on post. They share what they experienced on Friday the 13th last month in tonight's KFOX 14 special assignment.
In 1999, it was said that MP saw people in the windows on the second floor.
The amount of ghost pictures we caught, full-bodied apparitions, full faces, and the readings we caught, it was absolutely phenomenal. Some of the best we've ever caught.
It's known simply as Building 4 at Fort Bliss. It currently serves as the post safety office, but a long time ago it served a very different purpose.
It was used as a contagious disease isolation ward during the Spanish flu outbreak of the early 20th century.
During the final year of World War I, an unusually deadly flu pandemic began making its way around the world, including here in the borderland. It's been said the Spanish flu killed more people in 24 weeks than AIDS did in 24 years, and proved as lethal over the course of 1 year as Europe's Black Death did in 1 century. Current estimates indicate anywhere from 50 to 100 million people died during the Spanish flu pandemic, which has been called the greatest medical holocaust in history. And El Paso was not immune.
The morgue here was so full that this building's basement was used as a makeshift morgue.
People who work here at Building 4 call this the Ice House. During the Great Flu pandemic that lasted from 1918 to 1920, this is where they bring the bodies of the victims who died to preserve them until they could be buried.
Many of them were children that passed away, and its notoriety is that you can still see ghosts and apparitions supposedly that appear at the windows and walking around.
People have seen apparitions here, supposedly, heard voices.
Clinton Herzick, along with Heather and Chad Wellborn, make up a local paranormal investigation group called Ghost Chasers. Fort Bliss gave them permission to spend the night of Friday, September 13th in Building 4, along with the nearby Public Affairs office that's also said to be haunted, Building 15. Chad, Clinton, and Heather began by introducing themselves. Then, using something called a spirit box, which they say can pick up electronic voice phenomena, or EVPs, they began asking questions.
Where are you right now?
The other two investigators leave Heather alone in the ice house that was the temporary morgue during the Spanish flu outbreak.
The female spirit that I hear you that keeps coming through, will you tell me your name, please?
For several seconds, there's nothing but the sound of the machine scanning for EVPs, then some unidentified noises. Investigators say it can pick up sounds the human ear can't. Take a listen one more time. Using something called a Mel meter, they can pick up changes in electromagnetic energy and temperatures. Clinton says a typical EMF baseline reading is about 0.3.
Make it go to a 1.0, please. 0.6. Put it to a 1.0. 0.8.
0.9. Wow. Oh my God.
Thank you.
Wow.
He also believes he captured a ghostly image through the window of a door in the basement.
Here's the nose. Here's the eyes. His head.
When the Ghost Chasers moved on to Building 15, they captured an unexplained orb on camera, saying it's too large to be dust and wouldn't have disappeared like this if it were an insect. They also captured what they believe looks like a face in the wall behind a desk in Building 15. Are these ghosts? Tricks of the eye? Electronic manipulation?
No one's been able to prove what these voices, what these images are.
Your theories?
There's lots of theories out there as to what this stuff is. And it's up to you, it's up to the viewing public to come up with their own conclusions.
I didn't see anything, I didn't hear anything, I didn't feel anything, but they did capture pictures that show something. You know, that's all I can say.
And we've documented them on audio and video and through photography that there is something there.